This is my $8,000 M2 Ultra Mac Pro, and today I'm gonna try replacing it with this, a $1,400 Mac Mini. Look at this and this. This is ridiculous. But I'll tell you what, the new Mac Mini might just be my favorite Mac pretty much ever. This thing is absolutely awesome. And because it now packs the insanely powerful M4 Pro, this thing can actually get a lot closer than you might think to matching the performance of this Mac Pro. In Cinebench 2024, for example, the M4 Pro offers about 84% of the performance of the M2 Ultra despite having half the CPU cores. In the Blender Classroom CPU test, the M4 Pro is only about a minute slower than the M2 Ultra. Again, impressive for being half the cores. But in the GPU test, things are absolutely nuts. The M4 Pro is only 3 seconds slower than the M2 Ultra, despite having less than a third of the cores. That's ridiculous. In Death Stranding, playing at 4K resolution on the highest preset, the M4 Pro can get 43 FPS compared to 75 on the M2 Ultra. And in Final Cut Pro, rendering out a 30-minute 4K ProRes timeline takes just 10 seconds longer on this Mac Mini compared to the Mac Pro. And look at them! That's ridiculous! I genuinely cannot believe how powerful this Mac Mini is. The new Mac Mini is a masterpiece of design. Not only is it significantly smaller than the previous Mac Mini, but it's really well thought out. Quinn from Snazzy Labs tore this machine down and found that they are embedding components in cutouts in the PCB for the power supply, a very expensive and advanced technique, all in the name of getting something this tiny. It also features enhanced repairability. The Wi-Fi and Bluetooth card is no longer soldered to the main logic board, it's on its own separate component. It also features modular USB ports. In fact, just about the only thing that doesn't seem well thought out is the power button, which people have made fun of for being on the bottom, but I actually have a solution for that, because the power button is just held on with 4 screws, and then you can take it off and tape it on the outside, and there you go, problem solved. And incredibly, this little nugget has removable storage, which we will be testing out later in this video. But when you compare this Mac Mini to the old one, it is night and day. I mean, look at the difference between the M4 and the M2 Mac Mini. Oh wait, sorry, I lied. This is actually a 2012 Mac Mini, but you couldn't tell that, could ya? Because they all look the same. Haha, gotcha. But of course, when you're comparing an $8,000 Mac Pro to this teeny tiny Mac Mini, there are bound to be some trade-offs. So let's dive into the good and the bad right after a word from today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Factor. Factor makes meal planning easy and stress-free by providing fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals straight for your door. Their restaurant-quality, chef-crafted meals are nutritionally balanced to help you stay fueled. So skip that overpriced takeout, endless trips to the grocery store, and meal prep. You'll never be lacking for variety with a weekly menu of 35 options including keto, protein plus, and vegan and vegetarian options. You can also add breakfast, on-the-go lunch, juices, and more. I tried the Chicken Florentine featuring baked chicken in a cream sauce with spinach, shallots, white wine, and Parmesan, with chili garlic, roasted cauliflower florets. I also had the black pepper and sage pork chop with smoked cheddar Brussels sprouts and creamy broccoli, which was really delicious and packed with 45 grams of protein. Factor is a great, affordable way to get fresh meals. So to learn more, check out the link in the description below, and you can use code 50LukeMiani to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first order. Big thanks to Factor for sponsoring. Now let's get back to the video. Alright, now if I'm actually going to replace this monstrosity with this adorable little nugget, we're gonna have to address the elephant in the room: performance and thermals. Because this thing is really tiny with a lot of power packed into it. And while the M4 Pro chip is impressive and in a number of scenarios comes surprisingly close to beating the M2 Ultra, it isn't going to beat it in every situation. For example, in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is a Rosetta game, The M4 Pro can get 56 FPS compared to the M2 Ultra's 138. And while the numbers for the Final Cut Pro render were extremely impressive, in the export, the sheer grunt of the M2 Ultra is just too much for the M4 Pro to overcome. And then of course there's the thermals, because this is a lot of performance to be packing into a tiny 5x5x2 inch cube. So how does it compare to the regular M4? Well, when under load, the regular M4 chip only needs to spin its fan up to about 1800 RPM, which means that it is basically dead silent. The M4 Pro, on the other hand, has so many extra CPU cores, it's bound to be a little bit louder. My Mac Mini, which is the binned version, has to spin its fans up at around 2700 to 3000 RPM, which is audible. But it's honestly a lot better than I was expecting, and given that a lot of people will put a Mac Mini like this under your desk or off to the side, I really don't think it's a big concern. And certainly when doing tasks in the real world, like running AI models, running Final Cut Pro, you're not really going to be taxing the system at full load enough to really get the fans to kick in at all. But this comparison is not just about numbers. After all, if all I wanted was the cheapest way to get the most amount of performance, I could have bought this same M2 Ultra in a much smaller Mac Studio. But the two main things that make this Mac Pro incredibly useful to me are its massive amount of ports and its internal expansion. Now, ironically, despite the fact that this thing has a crap ton of ports, I actually use a desktop-based Thunderbolt dock because I put this thing way down off to the side and I'm not going to be reaching around to access those ports all the time. So as long as I continue to use that Thunderbolt dock, I really was surprised to find that there's no problem moving over to the Mac Mini. I ended up keeping my 2 Thunderbolt connections to that dock, which used 2 of my 3 Thunderbolt 5 ports on the Mac Mini. But in that dock, I broke out into 2 4K monitors, a 4K camera input for my podcast, and my desktop speakers. And on that note, I actually think that having a desktop hub is a really important thing because if you want to plug in directly to the Mac Mini, the headphone jack is on the front. It's really meant more for over-ear headphones. And of course, if Apple had their way, they'd say, hey, you know, all you need to do is buy 2 studio displays, AirPods Max, wireless keyboard and mouse, and there you go, minimal. You don't need any additional ports whatsoever. But you would have to sell a kidney, because holy cow, that's expensive. But as it turns out, you might not need to pay Apple for those internal storage upgrades after all, as we've recently found out that this Mac Mini has removable storage modules. It's very similar to the Mac Studio. Of course, this being Apple, they aren't compatible or even the same shape, thanks for that, but it does mean that theoretically, the storage should be upgradable. So let's find out. Now, because these are proprietary modules, the best we can do for now is swap the storage from my M4 Pro Mac Mini into my regular M4 Mac Mini. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. Getting inside the Mac Mini is pretty easy. We're gonna use this thin metal pick to create a bit of a gap. And then we're gonna use this plastic pick so that we don't scratch anything. And we'll go around the side and pop those clips. So now carefully we'll flip this up and disconnect the power button. Then we'll remove these 8 T5 screws. Now we'll lift up the bottom plate here, which has all of our antennas. And there are 4 more T5 screws on the underside here so we can disconnect it. 2 more T5s on the lower side of the fan, and then some itsy bitsy little T3s on the top of the fan, and we can go ahead and lift that up. And then we'll use some tweezers here to help with that fan ZIF connector, and we are all set. Look at that. Removable storage on a Mac Mini. I'm so happy about this. So it's just a T8 screw, and there it is. Crucially, there are 2 NAND modules, even on this base 256 gigabytes. So Apple has learned their lesson. And now we'll do it all over again. Dude. Apple, why do you do the things that you do? Look at this. The storage module is a totally different shape. That's hilarious. Why do they do this? Look, here's the regular M4 and here's the M4 Pro. It looks like they have the same connector, which is kind of funny. Oh my God, it does fit. Yeah, I mean, I can see why they are different shapes. This is actually hitting the heatsink. I don't even know if the fan would fit back in. I mean, it seems like it fits, But the bigger concern is, will our 512 fit in the other Mac Mini? Oh no, that does not look good. It's way too long and it's hitting this standoff screw that we need for the fan. So that is definitely not gonna work. I mean, is that not the most Apple thing to do? You give it removable storage, but make it different even within the same device. Fortunately, whether you have the M4 or M4 Pro Mac Mini, a French company called Polysoft is working on making these modules user upgradable. I have a video coming out later this month on their existing upgrades for the Mac Studio, so make sure to get subscribed, and I've linked their Kickstarter if you want to help fund that project. This kind of thing is absolutely fantastic, and I want to support them in any way I possibly can. But the Mac Pro does have an undeniable advantage over the Mac Mini, and that is internal expansion. The Mac Pro has a crap ton of PCI slots, and I'm currently using 2 of them to create an 8TB RAID SSD, and that's where I edit all of my videos. In addition to that, I also have 24 terabytes of hard drives from a Pegasus enclosure that plugs in via SATA. So having 32 terabytes just sitting inside the Mac Pro is really, really nice. And this system works really, really well for me because my current video projects sit on the 8TB SSD, and once it starts to get full, I'll just copy something over to the 24TB internal hard drive. And then once those 24 terabytes start to get full, I can move older libraries off to external storage if I'm not really going to use it very much, or I can delete render files to free up some space. But this system works really, really well for video editing. I've been using it now for several months, and it is an absolute dream. And it's something that would be very hard for me to now do without. In the near future, the Thunderbolt 5 support on the new Mac Mini will allow external storage to get nearly as fast as what I'm able to achieve with my internal storage, but for now, using external Thunderbolt 4 storage on the Mac Mini is a lot slower and less convenient than this internal storage. So this little guy is punching way, way above its weight class. I am absolutely thrilled with this Mac Mini. I think this may well be the best Mac that Apple makes. And certainly, if you compare it to anything in the PC world, you are never going to be able to find something this compact at this price point with this level of performance. This is literally the best value Mac in the entire world. That is until you start upgrading it. Many people have pointed out that getting the base model M4 Mac Mini with 32 gigs of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage costs the same as buying 2 base model Mac Minis. But the big question today was, will I actually replace my $8,000 Mac Pro with this teeny tiny Mac Mini? And the simple answer is, well, I definitely could do that. I'm probably not going to yet. And the reason for that is, number one, the export times in Final Cut Pro. They are significantly faster on the M2 Ultra, and that is something that impacts me every single day. But the main reason, beyond any other consideration, is that I already have my Mac Pro configured with the exact right internal storage RAID setup that I have always wanted. And it would be kind of a pain in the ass to go break that out and bring it over to this Mac Mini, buying new Thunderbolt SSDs and all of that stuff. So it's not really an indictment on the value of the Mac Mini. It's just that I've already got 8 terabytes in here and I don't want to buy 8 more terabytes of Thunderbolt 5 to stick into this guy. But I'll tell you what, if I didn't already have this Mac Pro, there's no chance that I would buy it. Not a chance. Now, to be fair, did I also say that when it was new? Maybe. I knew it wasn't a very good value going into it, and I specifically bought it for that internal storage. But if you're buying a computer right now, you cannot go wrong with this Mac Mini. It is absolutely fantastic. Probably my favorite Mac ever made. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.